This slide just gives you links to a little bit more of the background and the detail of what I'm aiming to do here. I won't read through everything here. You can look that up and think about it at your leisure. The link on the previous slide will give you a chance to find out a little bit more about this, but I got the idea from Briefing for the Landing on Planet Earth, written by Stuart Holroyd, which is an excellent book that I thoroughly recommend. One of the many reasons that I would ideally like to see a dowsing group set up to measure the world psychic energies is that I've got a bias towards water, well, water and earth in terms of elements that I have an affinity with. So I'm quite comfortable and quite like storing energy in oceans. There's some psychic benefits as well, in that there's not very many humans who live there, so there's less chance that human suffering or human ill will could create negative energies there, although the effects of human pollution can be a problem, both physically and energetically. However, having said that, I still think that oceans are a good place to store energy. So this week we start off by storing energy in the North and South Atlantic Oceans, the Southern Ocean, which is down near Antarctica, and the Indian Ocean, which is a nice little U-shape. On top of that, we're storing energy in Southern Africa and South America. Now, both of those places have got problems and are working at things. However, they're doing mostly fairly well. Southern Africa has got some good corruption trials underway, which is a sign of progress. South America also has protests underway, which is also actually a sign of progress. The main area of concern there is Venezuela, and that can get picked up by the work on Central America. So those two regions have been added into the battery to store positive energy for this week. On Monday, having done that, we created a U-shape that goes around Europe, Central and Northern Africa, and West Asia, and yeah, I listed everything there. Pardon me. We then send waves of BPM energy from both sides, I guess you would say, sweeping through those areas to help flush out, neutralize any non-BPM energies and help bring everything to a state of balance. It's a very significant area this week. It often is, but in particular this week it feels that West Asia is significant, and this little triangle of areas, Northern Africa, West Asia and Europe, is often interconnected, perhaps through the Mediterranean. In fact, I used to use the Mediterranean as one of my locations to dowse when I first started off. But anyway, we'll work on all three of them together. After that, we take a wave of energy through Russia, both European and Siberian Russia, through the West and East Pacific Oceans, and then into Canada. That sets up for Wednesday, when we use energy from the North and South going through South, Central and East Asia, and extend that out further on Thursday to go through Southeast Asia, both mainland and archipelagic, and also on the other side of the planet, or the other side of the Pacific Ocean I should say, go through Central America. Friday, we've set up the USA to be completely surrounded by sources of BPM energy, and we can use that accordingly. This week the BPM or positive energies are all looking pretty good. So to work out an element to focus on for this week's psychic work, I've looked at the non-BPM energies, which are quite low for air and water, and relatively low for fire and maybe earth. Æther is the one that's got the most non-BPM energies. Now, if I was looking at BPM energies, the positive energies. If I wanted to boost Æther, I could either work on that directly, or I could strengthen air, which would then flow energy into the Æther element. However, in this case, I'm looking at a whole set of energies that I don't want to particularly strengthen in any of the elements. So given that Æther is the one that I'm most concerned about, I'll focus on strengthening the BPM component of that element, which in turn will also help to reduce the non-BPM energies in fire and earth. A quick postscript to that, the way that strengthening BPM Æther energy will reduce the non-BPM energy in fire and earth is that the BPM energy will go around the circle in a clockwise direction in the generating cycle, and therefore also strengthen the BPM energy in fire and then earth. And strengthening the BPM part of each element will automatically enable it to better counter the non-BPM component of that element. When I want to strengthen Æther, then I'd probably choose something like Dagas, or maybe Ewas if I wanted perspective. In this particular instance, Dagas I feel is appropriate, but I'm also mindful that I want to strengthen passion and also earth. So I've come up with a bind rune which is Dagas for Æther, Kenaz for passion, fire, and Bakana for earth. And that's the design that I've come up with. The colours, they're not standard, but they're the colours that I quite like, so that's what I've stuck with.